Left or right? Make a guess. Yep, you were wrong. Hi guys and welcome, Gnembon here with the first episode of the Fun Farms, the series where I am taking one mob at a time and show unique farms based around some interesting game mechanics. They might not always be super efficient or extra fast, but what they should do is make you think, wow, that's interesting, wow, that's cool. Today we start with the end, and we look into a few interesting farms for the Enderman. The feature we will be utilizing here is the ability of teleportation, which is usually cause of problems in farm designs, but we will try to use it for our advantage. In the previous pilot episode, we were covering the 1.9 compatible shifting floor design of a wither skeleton farm. What TDL pointed out is that the usual spawning locations can actually be expanded upwards and downwards if we use nether brick as the spawning blocks. Indeed, it turns out we can go as high as Y75, which means that we can fit 3 more layers on top of the existing ones, providing they would use nether brick as their spawning space. I haven't seen this information before. Most known wither skeleton farms rely on 3 layers only, but it is true, which either can improve greatly the efficiency in the environment that hasn't been perfected for mob spawning, or allow to build an efficient farm even if only one intersection is present. But let's now go back to the end, and let's look closer at the behavior of the Enderman. So we have here the room where the player will be standing in the farm that I want to present today, with the usual crowd of angry Endermen in the middle of the room. There are a couple of interesting features about this room though. First of all, the ceiling seems to be 3 or 4 blocks tall, which is unusual for other Enderman farm designs. And second of all, which is even more interesting, if we look up above where the Endermen are standing, you would expect to see the Enderman farm, but we see nothing? Nothing at all. And I can promise you this nothing also uses no redstone, and you don't need to capture and store any sneaky mob to get it going. So before we look at the actual farm and where it actually is, let's now test and verify some of the facts about Enderman and its teleportation ability that you can find in Minecraft Wiki and other places. This will help us develop a very interesting farm. First fact. The Enderman attempts to teleport when taking damage or when targeted with a projectile. On the X and Z coordinates, the Enderman can teleport for up to 32 blocks away from the original standing position. On the Y coordinate, the Enderman chooses a location within 32 blocks away from the original location, but then scans down for any point he can land on, looking for a blocking movement block, which is a block you would be able to stand on. Wiki mentions a few exceptions, including double-layered carpets, as blocks as Enderman can stand on, but will not teleport to, but doesn't mention lily pads, and on the other side, open fence gates, that do not block the movement, yet Enderman will teleport to them, which explains the reason why the Enderman chose the open fence gates at the beginning of the video. We will utilize this property in the design of our farm. Also, this means that if we place a few fence gates above the Enderman spawning area and make them teleport, we can get the simplest AFK Enderpearl Farm that can be. What is interesting, and I don't have a good explanation for this behavior, is the fact that single carpet and double snow layers seem to keep Endermen away if hit from afar, but they can still teleport to it when they are hit next to it. The algorithm where the Enderman chooses a random block within 64 blocks large subcube and then scans down to find the location to land on means the more of the air blocks we have above the landing platform that are within this cube, the more likely the Enderman will choose to land on this particular block. We can see in this experiment that many more Endermen chooses the platform at the bottom than at the top. Now let's estimate the probability that an Enderman will teleport to a designated location. We will use the following experimental setup with a landing platform that is 20 blocks large. 20 blocks space takes 0.5% of the entire 64x64 plane area on the X and Z axis, where the Enderman can teleport to. And since the landing platform is in the middle of its possible vertical spaces it can teleport to, this single try probability needs to be reduced by half to 0.25%. Wiki provides the information that an Enderman will use a stack of chances to teleport, so with a single chance of success of 0.25%, It gives a cumulative chance of 14% of a success within 64 tries, assuming geometric distribution. So what I did was continuously placing an Enderman on a starting block and counting the number of times it takes to teleport to the fence gates. I then averaged all the points and got an average of 7.5 hits per Enderman, with a standard error of the mean of 0.7. Theoretical estimation based on 14% chance of a success of a single hit, assuming geometric distribution, is 7.2, which is within bounds of the average we estimated in the experiment, which also confirms the information found on the wiki about the 64 tries an Enderman takes when teleporting. This information will be important at the end to figure out the speed of the farm. So now, as we know all the mechanics behind it, we can get out and see how it all works. The basic Enderman processing unit consists of a floor of a specific type and a group of snowmen separated nicely so they do not collide with each other and shoot each other. And they are raised half a block or a block above the ground so they can be at the same height as the Enderman. The roof is covered with flowing water. This not only prevents Endermen from spawning and teleporting to it, but also in case they end up there for some unknown reason, it pushes them out to the void. The spawning pads have full block floor and can be stacked every 4 blocks on top of each other, allowing Endermen to spawn anywhere there. It is important that the closest block from the location we want the Enderman to end up has to be at least 32 blocks away from the closest spawning space on either X or Z coordinate, so they are not able to directly teleport to the final destination. Between the spawning spots and delivery location, we need to cause them to take fall damage, and we can achieve it by creating a platform of open fence gates, which they see as a possible place to teleport to. In this case, the drop pad is 11 by 11 in size, so with 121 teleport locations, we are pretty much guaranteed to have an Enderman teleported upon being hit. The probability that can be calculated using the model I described before gives about 90% of chance. And he cannot teleport to the roof of the spawning area because of the water on the ceiling. The fence gates are at about the same Y coordinate as the spawning spaces, but they can go even higher due to the high probability of Enderman teleporting to it, so you can easily sacrifice a bit of it for more compact setup. The fall area is the same type of pad, 2 blocks larger in each dimension, to help Enderman not to miss a target. The only difference is the floor, which is made of double layered carpets, so the Enderman would not teleport to them up from the top. Double layered carpets can be replaced with water with lily pads on top, but Enderman would be able to pick them up and grieve the place. Other possible options are thick snow layers, which should also work fine. When Enderman drops on the carpets, they lose almost all their health, since the distance to the fence gates is 43 blocks, which leaves them with half a heart. From this location, the only place they can teleport to when they got hit are just our few destination places in the player room. There's 21 of them, and they have 54 spaces above them where they can teleport from the fall location. With this information, we can calculate that the probability for them to teleport here from the drop pad is about 25%, which is the major factor of the speed of the farm. Right now the speed is pretty good. It takes about 30 seconds to fill the target location with mob cap of Endermen, but if you are not satisfied with the speed, it can be increased even further by several factors. First is the size of the pad, to increase the chances of teleportation from the fall pad. For instance, now with 21 landing spaces we have about 25% chance of an Enderman teleporting. But if we change the size to 6 by 6, this chance grows to 40%. Second factor is the number of snowmen in the fall pads, so they can shot quicker to have Enderman teleport to our room faster. Third factor is obvious. By increasing the number of spawning pads, which would make more Endermen spawn quicker at the first place. But it would only work if the snowmen at the bottom can keep up with the volume. The last way to increase the efficiency would be to build those spawning pads and fall pads all around the central room, which would simply add up their efficiencies, which is already decent enough. In terms of the destination room, you can go classical with 2.5 high ceiling and a solid blocks on the floor, which would be much more practical than this design, because you can safely use TNT to kill them, but this looks cool, with an Enderman almost reaching you. They cannot reach you because of the fence posts all around the path, which makes the height here 2.5 blocks, even if it looks as 3 blocks. And the entire floor is made of double carpets, so they cannot teleport nor spawn here. So that was our hipster and redstone free Enderman XP and Enderpearl Farm. And now let's look quickly at some other applications of the Enderman teleportation mechanics. This is the second farm I was thinking about. It is an Enderpearl scare farm. It will not give you XP, the flow of enderpearls is quick but not as quick as it could be, but that's a really cool scare farm right for the upcoming Halloween. So it looks pretty peaceful so far, unless you stand on the pressure plate in the middle. This farm doesn't use snowmen to move the Enderman, but a tiny bit of redstone circuitry generates a slow clock signal that turns the water on the diamond-shaped spawning paths on and off. The delay is chosen so water can completely cover all the paths, making sure that all the Endermen choose the middle fence gate platform to teleport. It is actually a pretty decent design if your main source of XP is somewhere else, like a Enderman XP farm, and if you only care for some enderpearls and having some scare fun from it as well. When they drop into water, where they cannot escape anywhere to, they have to stay and get close to the player and scream until they die from water. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please leave a like, leave a comment down in the comment area and share with others. Next time, we'll be looking at witches and we'll be evaluating several 1.9 compatible designs and deciding which one of them works best and which is the most useful. See you in the next one. Bye bye!